So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to go way back in the time machine to a song and performance that probably ranks as one of the greatest of all time. Now, Vanilla Fudge, my God, what a great live band. Their version of this song, live in the Ed Sullivan Show, you can get it on YouTube, is so good and so fucking intense. You're watching this and saying, anybody that broke up with me, please watch this because they're showing the pain that you put me through. Now, You Keep Me Hanging On, the original song, was made popular by the Supremes. It was composed by Holland Dozier Holland. It was first recorded in 1966 by the Supremes, reaching number one to Billboard Hot 100. We're not going to be talking about that version because I think that version basically was okay, went number one across the world. But what really stands out for me is the Vanilla Fudge version. Came out in Atco Records, June 1967 in the summer of psychedelia. Now, its psychedelic rock remix was titled You Keep Me Hanging On. Reached number 6 in the Billboard Hot 100 chart a year after release of the Supremes recording. While the edited version released on the 45 was under 3 minutes long, the album version, which was kind of truncated for the Ed Sullivan performance, was 7:26. It features a markedly slower and more aggressive interpretation of the song. Maybe the precursor to garage rock as we know it. The recording, done in one take, was Vanilla Fudge's first single. Let me tell you this again. One take. Drummer Carmen de Piss, PC, or whatever you want to pronounce it, tremendous, talked about the band's decision to record the song in a 2014 interview. That was Mark and Timmy, the band's keyboarders and bassists. We used to slow songs down and listen to the lyrics and try to emulate what the lyrics were dictating. That one was a hurting song. It had a lot of emotion in it. People Get Ready was like a gospel thing. Eleanor Rigby was sort of an eerie and church-like a horror movie kind of thing. If you listen to Hanging On Fast by the Supremes, it sounds very happy, but the lyrics aren't happy at all. If you live through that situation, the lyrics are definitely not happy. Now, the Vanilla Fudge version appears in the series finale of the TV show The Sopranos in 2007, at the conclusion of episode 1 of season 7 of the TV series Mad Men, the film War Dogs 2016, the video game Mafia 3, the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and its soundtrack, and over the closing credits of the Intervention episode of That Damn Michael Che. It also appears in a snowboarding film by Burton, One World. Now, the album version, 7 minutes and 26 seconds, Holland Dozier, producer Shadow Morton, and the next single of all things was Eleanor Rigby. This was their first single, one take. Now, Carmen PC on drums and vocals, Tim Bogart on bass and vocals, Vince Martell on guitar and vocals, Mark Stein the lead vocals and keyboards. Now, went number 50 in Belgium, number 13 in the Netherlands, in the Dutch top 40, number 10 in the Netherlands top 100, 18 UK, and top 6 in Billboard US. Now, Vanilla Fudge, the band itself, it's an interesting story how they got together. They're best known for this slow extended take. The band's original lineup was vocalist organist Mark Stein, Bogart, guitarist vocalist Vince Martell, and Carmen PC. They recorded 5 albums during the years 67 to 69 before disbanding in 1970. The band has toured as recently as 2022 with 3 to 4 original members, Stein, Martell, and Peace, with Pete Bremy on bass. Bogart retired in 2010 and died in 2021. The band has been cited as one of the few American links between psychedelia and what soon became heavy metal, and as a proto-prog band. Now, they had played in a local band, Stein and Bogart, called the Rick Martin the Showman. The pair were so impressed by the swinging organ-heavy sound of Rascals, they decided to form their own band 65 with Martell and Rick Martin's drummer, Mark Dolphin, was quickly replaced by Joey Brennan. Originally called himself the Electric Pigeons, they soon shortened the name to the Pigeons. In December 66, Brennan moved on to the younger brothers band, and Bogart became impressed with a young drummer named Carmen de Pice. He had already heard at a headliner club on 43rd Street in a cover band called Thursday's Children. Piece was asked to join the Pigeons in his 2016 autograph race ticket. He explained the name change to Vanilla Fudge. In April 67, the Pigeons got signed to Atlantic Records. There was one drawback, however. Atlantic didn't want to sign a band called the Pigeons. I met Erdogan, the label's founder and president, didn't like that name and told us that we had to change it. We didn't mind. In fact, I'd always thought the Pigeons was a weird thing to be called, but had just gone with it. We tried to think of a new name, but we're getting nowhere until we played a gig at the Page 2 Club in Long Island, and ended up talking to a chick named Dee Dee who worked there. He told her grandfather used to call her Vanilla Fudge. Then she looked at us and added, maybe you guys should call yourselves that. You're like white soul music. We liked it. We told our manager, Phil, he liked it. We told Atlantic, and he liked it too, so Vanilla Fudge it was. Now, a recording of the Pigeons while the world was eating vanilla fudge was released by Scepter Wand in 1970. Now, Fudge was managed by Philip Basile, a reputed Lucchese crime family member who operated several popular clubs in New York. Their first 3 albums were produced by Shadow Morton, who the band met through the Rascals. When Led Zeppelin first toured the States in early '69, he opened for the Fudge on some shows. The band's biggest hit, again, was the cover of You Keep Me Hanging On. This version, again, went top 20 in UK, did good in the States, and top 6. It was a top 10 hit in Canada. The members of Vanilla Fudge were also great admirers of the Beatles, and covered several of their songs, including Ticket to Ride, Eleanor Rigby, and You Can't Do That. The eponymous debut album quotes Strawberry Fields Forever at the end, with the lines, "Nothing is real, nothing to get hung about." According to Ritchie Blackmore and John Lord, Vanilla Fudge's organ-heavy sound was a large influence on the British band Deep Purple, but Blackmore even stated that his band wanted to be a Vanilla Fudge clone. So when I first heard the Fudge, for obvious reasons, I was heavily impressed. Now, just a recap here, ladies and gentlemen. Keep Me Hanging On went top 72 in Canada. Eleanor Rigby Part 1, the UK release only, went 53. Season of the Witch went 52 in Canada, 65 in the US. While You Keep Me Hanging On, the re-release, went number 2 in Canada and number 6 in the US. Shotgun went 59 in Canada, 68 in the States. Take Me a Little While, top 40 in the States, top 45 in Canada. Some Velvet Morning, 69 in Canada. And none of the Beatles songs were released as singles. Now, just remember, the first 5 albums went top 35 in the States. Vanilla Fudge went number 6, that went gold. The Beat Goes On and Renaissance went 17 and 20. Near the Beginning went 16, but charted their best ever in Canada, number 10. Rock and Roll went 34 US, but better in Canada. So the momentum for Vanilla Fudge, because of the Toronto and the Quebec scene, was strong. Now, The Beat Goes On was strong in Germany at top 31. Now, there's numerous collections and live albums through the years. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want a good summer song, not to say to make a drunk, You Keep Me Hanging On, and don't forget Kim Wilde's version. The Kids in America fame. She was quite strong as well, and that revitalized her career. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the midst of a breakup, don't put on the George Jones. Put on You Keep Me Hanging On by Vanilla Fudge. Tell them the governor sent you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing with Behind the Tracks, we're talking about 1960 songs for the rest of May. I think we have a couple more podcasts coming. Let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And tell me why Ed Sullivan was better for rock and roll than any other person in rock and roll history. If he wouldn't have shown, look at the Doors, the Beatles, CCR. He just put what the kids wanted to listen to, eh? Even have Richard Pryor and George Carlin. Ed Sullivan knew a hit when it came. He was a star maker, not a star breaker. Thanks for listening, and why don't you let me free? Why don't you, babe? Get out my life, why don't you, babe? Woo! I love you guys. Have a good one. Keep your stick in the ice. Go Oilers, go in the Stanley Cup. I forgot to mention, fuck you, Marchand. It's our cup this year. You stay home. We got you in 6. Love you guys. Bye.